What trading methods can I use in Ultimate Team at the moment to make me some coins? What ones are working? The laser cell method we were using at the start of the game, that seems to have completely dried up at the moment. I'm doing some testers and that with that, but nothing's really working too much. Not with the margins and that we had to start off with. I've been having a lot of luck with manager trading. Certain leagues don't have a manager from that league. So someone has to physically get a manager, like a Spanish manager, for example, and then put them into that league with a manager consumable. And a lot of people can't be bothered to do that. But you'll find that this method works really well when there are sort of like gauntlets where people are making specific teams as well, because they will need those sort of like specific managers that they will go out and buy. And if they're not in a league, so there's no Spanish managers in the NWSL unless you put the consumable on it, then they're the sort of like ones that you want to look at. So I'm just using the NWSL as an example now, but if I look, for instance, for German ones, they're going for 1100 at the moment. Germany managers 200 coins, so that's 400 coins, and then you're making what, 700 coins profit per card. That's pretty good for a 400 coin investment. I know it's not like the big sort of like money, but this is a low budget method. I think Argentinian managers are a bit more. They are 400 coins. So, I mean, that one doesn't look as worth it to me. You still going to make profit by having them up. So it might be worth, if you've got the space, just sticking one on and putting them up for 1,000 coins. So that's only 400 coins minus the tax. But yeah, there's sort of like these other leagues and that you will find spaces within them. Even some of the less well-known ones can sort of like sell fairly well and are less congested. So like, I don't know, Championship. It's like, you sell one of these for 1,500 coins, you spent, what, 600 coins on a gold manager, 400 coins, 200 coins for the league, and then you're selling it for that. Because like, if you get a sale, then thank you very much. That's really good profit. So you want a league that people are sort of like going to use, but you don't want one that's everyone's going to use. Oh, look, Championship. There you go. Look, there's a gap right there. There you go. There's a gap right there. Spanish Championship managers. Going for 1,900. You'll probably find that they don't sell like fast, because is there going to be a lot of people with Championship teams? Probably not. But anyone that needs one, like mass bidding. So during rewards days, after the first hour, there is then masses of cards put on the market. So you can mass bid on the cards, like fodder cards, get decent prices, and then just hold and sort of like sell later. So a player like Lewandowski is looks like it's going for 18,500 at the moment. If he does spike back up to that after the content, because of the SBCs and that sort of like needed, and you can get for a decent price, this sort of thing is decent to just sit in your club, wait for it to spike up. You can do the same with informs. So informs as well, I think they've actually risen at the moment to about 12k. But during a content sort of like time, they're not informs. No, there's something. Was that an inform mixed in there? It's 24. Okay, let me search for informed. Not just special. Team of the week. Come on. There you go. 12k. That one might be a bit straight away. These look like they're going up in price now. That's not too bad. So, I mean, 84 rated. We would have had one of them, but we're too slow. Old man reactions. So when getting these sort of like ones, higher rated the better. Unless you specifically think that they are going to be very good for future Evos. So a player I'm interested in Evoing up is Harry Maguire when he fits into an Evo. So I'll put one in my club, and yeah, I'm just sitting on him waiting. He's not really going to go down when I bought him for 11k. And when he fits an Evo, he will spike up in price. So you just sort of like sit, and if the whole market crashes down and you need the coins, you can just quick sell them if you wanted anyways, to go out and buy other players. So these are ones that are just sort of like sit on it and hold it pretty much. Wait till it goes up. You can do the same for Evos as well. A player like Goku keeps on spiking up in price every time he's in and he fits in an Evo. There's been a lot of left winger ones at the moment, so I would be like, is he really gonna sort of like go again? So if we go and look at this card on Futbin, it's literally all over the place. Down to 4k, up to 5k, spiked all the way up to there. So this is a card I would not buy at the current price, but it goes back down. You get him for about there hasn't been a left wing one in a while, an Evo and that. You think, you know what? I like the price that he's at. I think there's going to be an Evo soon. So I'm going to be specifically interested if there's going to be sort of like fodder cards that fit these Evos and that as well, because they won't go down any more sort of like in price. So you're minimizing all of that risk as well, because it's like, well, it's not going to go down any further. It's fodder price. Yet the upside could be freaking massive. You know what? I'm not going to gold cards. Let's just look at the upside of these. I'm going to use Team of the Week as an example. So this sort of card could fit Evo soon. He's a bit over discard on that. However, he fits an Evo that could so easily spike to 30,000 coins. So another thing that works every week is the Friday bubble. What do I mean by Friday bubble? I'll give you an example with this one. If I have a look at his graph, go to hourly, Friday, you will see early morning, a card like this Pile of Future is about 350k. When it comes, you can still buy them for sort of floating about 350k, a little bit of a rise before content, and then 6 o'clock content. 421k. There's firework outside. That was good timing. 50k for one card for holding them for, yep, for that long. Thank you very much. Num 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 num. So Friday flips can be very good. I don't like the amount of risk that you're putting in for your returns, though. It seems very high risk to me. especially with what content they could potentially come out with at 6. I had a Joe Cole. I'm using him in my team. I don't really. However, when the new Evo and that come out, absolutely destroyed his price. It went from 160k down to about 110. I was like, wow. So it just shows you that some of these, depending on what the content's like, even if you're planning for that bubble, just freaking destroy things. So whenever there is pack supply and like Electrum Players packs, premium Electrum Players packs, all that sort of thing that comes out, I don't know if do they have that in marquee matchups on a Wednesday? I'm not sure. When that supply sort of like hits, a lot of these cards that are needed for silver tournaments and that, you will find them sort of like drop a bit, and you can pick up some sort of like good deals and then hold to then sell when they jump in value near the tournaments. And another thing is certain cards will jump for Evos and that as well. So you're looking for more main leagues and main nations when it comes to those sort of players, and any players that with certain playstyles that could be perceived as meta playstyles. So I think people prefer, like, I don't know, let's just put low driven on. I don't think hardly any of them have a plus, but we'll just put low driven. So a player with pace, it's a good league, and that's low driven. No. What about here? So you've got a guy here. 88 pace. Card looks half decent. Only 3-star, but got some decent play styles. You could see him jump fairly in price. That's just a random example. But when the silver tournaments are sort of like needed. Got advanced forward plus as well. I could see him sort of like jumping in value, be like 2.5k maybe. I don't know, when there's sort of like a silver tournament. You'll find that the certain positions where the icons aren't will probably be better to trade in as well. So are there any others? Honorable mention, Bronze Pack method is still working at the moment for the Libertadores and Sudamerica cards. They're going between 2,000, 2,500 coins generally at the moment. When that goes away, they're going to drop. So you have any in your club or anything, I'd sell them beforehand. I don't know if it's being refreshed. Does that stuff get leaked? I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it. I don't know. But sell them before it expires. If you have any spare coins, I would put it in discarding forms. They don't go down. They're probably going to spike up to 20k at some point. They seem to most years. If any fodder cards are a good price at that particular moment, it's worth just stocking some in your club. They tend to spike up as well. And any specific cards that looks like they would be very good for Evos. Yeah, so I was trying to get in on these Scream cards, try a few out, but I am quite concerned because they're already up in price a lot. So like Quadrado was about 39k and then spiked up to 50k. I think I've got this one sort of like just below 50k. So we made about 1,000 coins on him. Wow. But I don't want to risk him dropping again. I'll just take my coins, thank you very much. So I was trying a few Scream cards and that look like they might be very good investments, but I don't like the risk to reward at the moment. I think they're too invested in. They might have a brief spike when the updates come out, but then I think the market's going to get flooded. But we'll see how it goes. I might get back in on some if the market gets flooded a little bit, because they will probably see a rise, especially for demand for Weekend League. So that's something that I am interested in at the moment. That's where all the hype is. But remember, always selling the hype. Because once the upgrades come live, probably going to tank. So this has been what's working for me, and I hope it helps you out. You've been watching Tarkfut's Flips. So you've been watching Tark's You've been watching Tark's Foot Flips, and I hope you have a good day.